Later creators, welcome back to the channel. I'm doing something a bit different. With a lot of new followers, I thought I would formally introduce myself, talk to you about my story and why I'm this guy making this channel geared towards older creators. If you want to bounce, that's fine, but I hope this reaches somebody, where I was when this story started. Somebody unhappy with their job, with life in general, with their purpose, feeling age is something that they are running up against and not giving them the opportunities that they had hoped for when they reach that age. Yeah, I just felt I should share this with you. Buckle up. I appreciate you coming on this ride with me. My journey to start Creator Later started September 2022. I was fired from a job that I was just awful at. It was such the wrong place for me to be. I've been laid off from a job in January 2021, thanks COVID. So I've been searching for work for about 7 months. An opportunity came along. I liked the people. I liked the opportunity. I deeply felt that this was just going to be a job I was bored at. It was a job that required you to make the same video 6 times a week with a very set format. They also hired me because I would bring something new, some energy, a different direction towards that. So I was genuinely worried I was just not going to do well at this. But when faced with no money or money, I took the money, and yeah, I was just not a good fit. I was just underutilized at this job. I was doing everything I could to make the job my own, except kind of for what I was hired for. I was coming up with new ideas. I was trying to start the TikTok channel and like everything you could think of, except just doing those style of videos that I was brought on to do. I made technical mistakes. I just clashed with my supervisor. I struggled with shame and bullying and all of those things. That's what the job kind of became for me, just a nightmare of an opportunity making something where I just didn't felt I was fully utilized to do. Yeah, when they let me go, it wasn't the biggest shock in the world. There was a relief that I wouldn't have to go and do that. At the time, I felt it was a sign that I was destined to do what I'd been pursuing for the past 10 years, which was to work in themed entertainment. Themed entertainment is basically the people that build theme parks, Disney, Universal. Themed entertainment is a lot of different things. It can be small rides, and even escape rooms are a part of themed entertainment. So I grew up just loving Disney parks, Universal, the entire thing. Years ago, I was at a place where I just felt like I didn't belong and found a community of like-minded people in themed entertainment, and I'd just been pursuing it and getting small jobs and such like that, but just kept going because I felt this is what I wanted and nothing was going to stop me. And in losing my job now, it was like, well, this clears the gates for me to fully go in and get that themed entertainment thing. It's just bound to happen. I went to the yearly convention they have in Orlando and met with people, and people made connections, and I chatted with people, and I just, man, it's hard to give up something that you've pursued. You want to be so right about it and determined, and I just left that conference feeling like nobody cares that I'm there. Like all those years of being there and showing up and being present and spending so much money and time away from my family to pursue this, they just weren't gonna let me in. When you look back and you realize you didn't even get I didn't get an interview. I was never asked to interview for like a full-time position and just couldn't get freelance. And I felt I was a writer. I can write those kinds of attractions. There's stuff out there that I've built. I mean, like, what else do I have to show, and to, to sit there and realize that you're going to give up on something you've pursued for 10 years hurt, and maybe it still does a little bit. I had this vision that my life was just going to be mentoring young writers and video producers, and I would be able to give back. When you get older, you think about, legacy and like, what if you have to share? I just pictured a world where I'd be helping these younger creators, and in saying goodbye to theme parks, it felt like that was gone. But I couldn't justify continuing on that road for who knows how long. Because in the back of my mind, I felt that path was limiting. In themed entertainment, you're kind of put into a box where you do this or that. I was a writer and a video producer, and I felt like I could do both. And I did do both. You had to pick one, and I didn't want to give up either one. I just wanted to freelance and switch between those two strengths, and that was not going to happen. And so I took stock in the fact that I had many years of being a video producer. It just made sense for me to stick with making videos, which is what I'd love to do. But I wasn't clear on the path forward. The freelancing, owning your own business thing is so terrifying, but I felt like I had to give it a shot. But I never really thought about what avenue to pursue. Earlier on, I had fell in love with visual effects, just doing fun little things, learning this program called After Effects. Those were fun to me. Those sparked a joy that I hadn't felt in a while. I paid a couple $1,000s for a class to learn visual effects. I realized that I could teach people this. At that time, I just didn't see a lot of people on short form video making these kinds of visual effects. So I came up with this idea of just starting my own company, my own brand, Amazeballs VFX, and as a way to help other creators do visual effects. I made my own YouTube channel, and I started going that. You can't just make a YouTube channel and not have any way for people to pay you. So I bought a course to teach me how to make an online course. I know. And so I put in tons of work in making my own website and, sales funnel. This place taught you to pre-sell your course through advertising. And they talked about all these other people that were doing it, making millions, and, just kind of, why can't I? At the same time, I was looking for freelance work and just not getting anything. I became severely depressed. It drove a wedge between me and my wife and the kids, and it just hurt to be in that situation. I couldn't get work, so I was Ubering 5 times a week for 8 hours. That was my sole contribution to bringing in money. I was doing Uber, and there are days when you're out there driving around thinking, is this all I'm worth? It's just driving people from their home to their airport or to the football game. Is this it? And I'd been looking at, in 50 years old, was through the windshield and just feeling abysmal failure. All the shame and depression just came back, and I could not see. There were days I felt resigned to, well, okay, this is it, I guess. I'm just gonna drive, and there's no need for me, because at the same time, I was not getting any reaction to my work out there in full time. I could not get an interview with anybody. When I got an interview, I couldn't make it past HR, and I sent spec videos and examples and made videos directly for people showing what I could do, and immediately declined. Depression came in hard after I was rejected from a job. So the only thing I could do was not apply for jobs there, just avoid that whole thing. But I was still working on the course. I still felt that was going to resonate with somebody. And I had the landing page and payment all laid out and ready to go. And I launched my ads on Facebook, and I got one sale and quickly ran out of money because Facebook ads cost money. And I was not willing to put thousands of dollars into ads that I didn't know how to pay for. And so that ended really quickly for me. And I had felt, just washed up. Okay, so I'm that guy who doesn't get to spend time with his family. I'm the 9-to-5er, I guess. So I just kept pursuing that, and I still got nowhere. And I just, the depression it's still hard to talk about in front of you, but it was real, and it hurt. And if you're a dad, you know what it's like to feel like you're letting down the people around you when all you want to do is help, and everything you're doing is just failing left and right. And I didn't know what to do. I felt that everything I was doing was wrong in going for jobs, and that I was now 50, and I was never going to be a creator again. Nobody needed me. It sounds cliche, but in those moments where you're just completely lost, like something finds its way to you. It's not very eloquent, but it's one of those things. In November 2023, I saw a article called "Your Mom Should Do UGC." And I was like, what's UGC? And UGC, user-generated content. Brands were paying creators to make videos for them. I just thought it was influencers. I'd been programmed to think that influencers or big YouTubers with an audience were the only way to make money doing content. You were either gonna be like an influencer or a YouTuber, or you were gonna work for a production company or something. I didn't know that UGC existed. And the thing about what the article said was that companies were having problems finding anybody over 35, over 40 to do this, because people in 40s and 50s weren't really thinking about being influencers or creators. It happens, but those people were kind of fixed on the whole monetization of the audience thing and not just normal people that wanted to do it. And I just felt so encouraged that, wow, there's people that want somebody who's 50 after feeling like ageism was affecting me from getting a full-time job. It seemed like, oh, here's people that want somebody that's 50. And I had all the skills, like everything that I was good at was what it took to make a good UGC video. And it felt like my only shot at making content ever again was this UGC thing. So I took December to study UGC, to look at examples. I made 6 or 7 spec examples of following these things. I made my portfolio page, I made my social media handles, and I got everything set for me to look for jobs on job boards and look for jobs on Twitter. And then so I just went out and just started talking, chatting, connecting with people, commenting. Within 3 days of doing that, I had my first job. I just made $100 to make a video. And then by the end of the week, I had a $1,200 3-video deal. By the end of the week, I just made more money making content in a week than I had all year. There was an exuberance and just a joy of, oh, I can do this. And it's August and we're still going. We're still making good money doing this. And it opened me up to all the things that I was searching for. The freedom to create stuff, the freedom to have the time that you want to spend with family. I took 2 weeks off of vacation and didn't need permission. you just win. And, we had enough money to cover it. And then, UGC took off fast. I was busy from the start, and that was incredibly good for our bank account and my confidence, but it put Amazeballs off to the side. With Ubering, I had plenty of time to kind of work around it, but now I was kind of back in a full-time job doing this, and I put Amazeballs off, and there were days where I was making the UGC videos, for other brands, still helping out, and feeling a sense of loss and really an emptiness. But it's like, okay, I figured this out, but this feels like a means to an end. Like, is this still going to be a thing in 5 years? Who knows? But I felt like UGC was my way to kind of get started the next thing, and I didn't know what that was. And I had seen so many other people make their own courses, people with thousands of followers more than me, and I felt like I had nothing to offer the visual effects world. There were so many other people doing this better than I am, more consistent. Like, why would they learn from me? And I didn't want to be the tutorial guy. They just seemed to blend in. I just didn't want to blend in. And it felt like that was an audience that deep down I know I couldn't help. I felt like there were just other people that were doing that way ahead of me, and I had no in that niche. But the turning point was talking with a lot of other older creators out there, a lot of other UGC creators who had found their way in. I started asking them, just in random ways, the conversations about how they learned to do this came up, and I heard them talk about how much they struggled. The more I talked to people, I learned that there was a lack of information about the creative and the technical side for older creators. It was just too overwhelming for them. They were intimidated by editing and video and performing and like all of those things. They wanted to change their life. They wanted to work from home and be present. They felt like they needed to do something else rather than the job that they were stuck in. They didn't find resources that were tailored to them. It was hard to hear that because I'm so used to doing this that it's like, how can somebody not know this? This is easy. I saw the opportunity to help people that were in the same life stage as me, that had maybe gone through the same things or were still struggling with those things. I mean, when you hit a certain age, you just think, is this it? Like, is this it? There has to be more, and you're stuck in the corporate world and you just see you're unfulfilled, and there has to be something else. This can't be what I was brought up for. And then that spoke to me. Maybe over dramatic, but it really, really did. And I just saw this opportunity to help people. It was like, I don't need to help young people. There are older people that need help. It seems so obvious to talk about it now that older people need help and want to learn this, and there aren't great resources for them to do this. This seemed like the right move for me. Starting a YouTube channel is like the craziest thing you could ever do, and then building your own personal brand and all of that. It's like, well, who am I to be able to do this? This is for other people. But knowing that other people can be successful and have been successful at this, I felt like I could give it my best, and I felt that people needed my help, and I'd be able to serve them in a way that was genuine and honest, but I could also have fun. It's not easy, doing your UGC work and then pushing all these videos out there and the social medias and the personal branding. There are nights where I don't sleep well. There are weekends I don't have time off because there's always this other thing to do when you're trying to crank out a newsletter and write scripts and do all this stuff. And there are just pure moments of exhaustion and breakdown, and I want to throw everything into this YouTube channel and this business because I love writing scripts and I love being in front of people And to not be fully present for that is hard. And I'm grateful for anybody who's liked and subscribed and, maybe wants to learn from me, like in personal coaching. It's neat when you get replies from people thank you. I mean, this isn't easy. It's tough, and you put stuff out there, and you hope somebody out there receives your message. And if you've made it this far, congratulations for sticking with me. I hope you can take something away from this. If, like I said, if you're struggling or you're tired or you just want something else with your life, I think I'm kind of proof that like anybody can do that. You can get out of your 9 to 5 or whatever situation and just change your life. Yeah, I don't know how to end this because I didn't really script this, but I genuinely thank you for watching this. I hope this gives you some more insight into who this guy is, and that you take something away from this and go out and be a positive force towards whoever you want to help and care for. Chewie says bye.